What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Sorry for the lateness. I was out and about. Didn't have time to get back to the computer. Do the live reaction to the Philadelphia Eagles 31-13 victory over the Buffalo Bills here. Big time win on the road against I believe going into this game, they were the second best team record-wise in the AFC, which, push comes to shove, I thought the Bills were going to be good this year. There's a reason why I picked them as my official sleeper team. And it goes without saying, my last two sleeper teams, the Chicago Bears and Jacksonville Jaguars, have gone from garbage to making the playoffs whenever year I say it. I still think the Bills are good enough to be maybe even the number one wild card seed in the AFC. But it was a great win for Philadelphia. Buffalo, it's a pretty good home environment. It's never going to be an easy game against the Buffalo Bills. The weather wasn't great. So it was perfect conditions for a great Buffalo Bill defense to really take over this game. Philly dropped 31 on them. The Bills never really looked like the better team, maybe for like halfway through the first quarter, because Philadelphia is god-awful at the beginning of their games. But 4-4 now. Philly got Chicago next week. That's obviously a make-or-break game. I don't know how you keep a DC on if Trubisky goes off against you. So I'm definitely thinking, I'm fairly optimistic Philly can get to 5-4 next week. But that is for another day. We're 4-4. We're tied for first in the NFC East. I don't really want to bring that up because Dallas just absolutely whooped us a week ago. But, that was then. This is, I honestly, it is biased. I think I've been very fair of the Philadelphia Eagles this year when they've been good. I've been hyped when they've been bad. I've been as critical as the biggest Eagle hater out there. But I think you give Philadelphia Deshaun Jackson, we're better than the Dallas Cowboys. I know, and I hate the fact that a 32-year-old injury-prone player is what can make or break this team. That is an issue and a negative for the Philadelphia Eagles in their own right. But I think when they have that deep threat, I don't think there's a lot of teams in the NFC that can roll with them. And Philly, this is another great win. That win against the Green Bay Packers, obviously is huge because Green Bay looks as good as any team in the NFL right now with Aaron Rodgers being incredibly hot. But a win over Buffalo, these are two very, very credible wins. I think when you, a big negative against if you're trying to make, compare them to the Cowboys, is the Cowboys have a lot of ugly wins. In terms of quality opponents and a couple ugly losses, losing to the Jets in particular. So, it's good on the resume. So let's just get into some quick grades and stuff. I'm sure I can't wait to flip on the new Call of Duty and see if they got Kill Confirmed added to it or not, because right now that game is terrible. I love everything about that game except the game. You know what I'm saying? Everything that's outside of actually playing the Call of Duty, like the guns, the challenges, leveling, how they're going to be doing loot boxes, that is phenomenal. The maps are terrible. The gameplay is garbage. They got to add Kill Confirmed, but that is, we're here for grades. So let's look at Carson Wentz for the Philadelphia Eagles. He was 17-24, 172 yards. Touchdown, no picks on the day. Scrambled pretty well, had 35 rushing yards. Again, it was an ugly game. It was never going to be a game like I had Carson Wentz, my fantasy teams. In both my leagues, I tried to bench him. I benched him actually in both leagues just because the weather was really, really bad. The wind was bad. So I think the fact that, accurate, no turnovers, played very well. I think that's a positive for the team that had a game plan of clearly just trying to pound that rock, control the clock. So I'll give Carson Wentz, who gets a B+. He was very good on the day. Run the ball, this is what I want to see. Jordan Howard, 23 carries, 96 yards and a touchdown, 4.2 yards per carry. Miles Sanders, 3 carries, 74 yards and a touchdown, 24.7 yards per carry. Obviously, I maybe would like a couple more carries for Miles Sanders. Maybe get rid of the 2 garbage runs to Nelson Agholor that never work. Boston Scott, who's pretty much, maybe being groomed to be our Darren Sproles replacement. He had a touchdown as well. Run game gets an A+. Run game was absolutely outstanding. And surprise, surprise, in the 2 games the Philadelphia Eagles have looked impressive, this game and the Green Bay Packer win, we ran the ball incredibly well. I'm starting to think that there's a trend there. Run the ball, set up the play action so Carson Wentz can do what he does best. There's not too many teams like Aaron Rodgers has a newfound success this year, and it's because the Green Bay Packers can run the ball. Aaron Jones is having a breakout year. So when you look at pretty much every team in the NFL has Tom Brady. The short passes and all that stuff only ever set up for Tom Brady because they can run the ball. Doesn't matter if they're using Sony Michel, if they're using James White, there's always a threat out that backfield. So when Philly finally starts utilizing threats out the backfield, things are going to go open up for Carson Wentz. But a grade for the running backs, they're getting an A+. They were phenomenal. For our receivers, Alshon Jeffrey, 4 catches, 64 yards. Miles Sanders had 3 catches for 44. Dallas Goedert had the lone touchdown. Zach Ertz isn't doing much. I'll tell you right now, the trade deadline coming up for the Philadelphia Eagles on Tuesday. Almost everyone in the league, not just being a an idiotic Eagle fan, has Philly making a move. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm not overly optimistic, to be honest with you. But if I had to say, gun to my head, name one shock player that could, I think Zach Ertz. He's in a contract year. If some guy had to get traded, I could see Zach Ertz getting traded if something shocking to the rest of the NFL had to happen. He's just not having a good year. Dallas Goedert's getting more looks. He's getting more open. I don't know. I guess he's kind of expendable. Then again, the ship has sailed because the big rumor was him going to Jacksonville as part of Jalen Ramsey trade. I mean, now looking at what it costs, would I have traded a first, Zach Ertz, and a second? Isn't that what they got for Jalen Ramsey? 2 firsts and a second? A first, Zach Ertz, and a second for Jalen Ramsey. I don't know. The fact that I can't give you an answer for that probably tells you all you need to know. But for the wide receivers today, there wasn't really any bad drops. Again, it was the game plan. Alshon actually looked pretty good. Honestly, I thought he got open a lot. So I'll give the wide receiver. They get a C+. They were fine. No wow plays. This is a boring team, to be honest with you. This is a very boring Philadelphia Eagles team. Even the game, like every game this year, there hasn't, like since Deshaun Jackson's been gone, there's been no big explosive play. Like we had the big Miles Sanders run, which was pretty cool. But other than that, man, it's a boring team to watch. They're like an efficient Tennessee Titans right now. It's not very good. Fire Mike Groh, that is for sure. Looking at the defense, Malcolm Jenkins, 6 cackles, had a TFL. Brandon Graham had a sack. Nate Gary had a sack and a half for Fletcher Cox. Now, Malcolm Jenkins did, on the opening drive, have 2 unnecessary roughness penalties, both like just smashing the head of someone. Josh Allen, it was. Not great after he got called out by Skandrick as a negative leader, even though the Philadelphia Eagles do, they put some smoke towards Orlando Skandrick, putting that gameplay mic'd up where Skandrick was like, dabbing up Malcolm Jenkins, saying he's a tremendous leader and stuff. I mean, it is what it is. Orlando Skandrick, garbage. But Jenkins was okay. Brandon Graham had a great game. This was Fletcher Cox's best game of the season. I thought he was the best player on the field on either side of the ball. Him and Jordan Howard are really, really shining today. Fletcher Cox gets an A+ from me. He definitely gets game ball. He was unstoppable, man. So many plays. It says he only had 6 tackles for a second half. I think he must have had at least like 5 or 6 pressures as well, breaking down plays, closing that pocket to really limit what Josh Allen can do. Now, credit to Josh Allen. Fletcher Cox could have had probably 3 or 4 sacks on the day. There's 2 sacks for sure that he had that Josh Allen was able to scramble and break out of. But the defense came to play, man. TJ Edwards as well, undrafted free agent at Wisconsin. I thought he had a pretty strong game, had a couple tackles to limit some potential big plays to the back. And I think he did pretty well on Devin Singletary. Special teams were good. So, I mean, man, it is what it is. Defense, I'm going to give them, they were fine. They were B+, A-, somewhere in that territory. Again, push comes to shove. When we talk about moves, I'm always firing Mike Groh over Jim Schwartz. Because I think Jim Schwartz, he's bipolar. But he can have the occasional good game where I haven't seen anything positive from Mike Groh. Plus, Mike Groh is easily more replaceable. And it comes back to, like, do I think Jim Schwartz do I think he should be fired? I always will side on Jim. Jim Schwartz is always incredibly tricky because he does have a lot of injuries to have to overcome. But at the same time, his scheme's not good, and he doesn't develop players. So it's one of those things where if I can really find a suitable replacement for Jim Schwartz, understanding like my dream replacement is getting Brent Venables away from Clemson, which I highly doubt. Why would he ever want to leave college? But, if a good DC becomes available, like I really wanted Todd Bowles, but then Todd Bowles made it clear that he's going to be running a 3-4 in Philadelphia. No, we already switched from a 3-4 from the Chip Kelly era. But if a top defensive DC comes available, I probably will be more inclined to get rid of Jim Schwartz. But you see performances like this every now and again. I mean, it is against Josh Allen, the rain, the weather, whatever you want to call it. But, until a clear and obvious replacement that I really want, I can't be a part of the fire, Jim Schwartz right away type crew like I can be for Mike Groh, because it's Mike Groh. Hey, get Jay Gruden. But that is my grades. I think overall Philadelphia was very good. Game balls go to Jordan Howard and Fletcher Cox. What do you guys feel about this game? Do you think this can turn around the Philadelphia Eagles season? I mean, I do think the Buffalo Bills slightly overrated based upon their record, but they still are a very solid team, especially with that defense. And definitely if they can get, if you can get Devin Singletary more than 3 carries in a game, they're probably going to have a lot better luck. They just kept throwing him screen passes that he wasn't catching, but run the ball like an actual running back. And I think he's going to be, I think is their probably best offensive skill position player, and they're not getting him the ball. So that's the downside there for the Buffalo Bills. But thank you guys for watching. And as always, until next time, it's your boy C4, and I'll catch you back here for some post-grade games after, hopefully, we absolutely starch. I don't know if it's a primetime game or not next week, but after we dominate Mitchell Trubisky, dominate a playoff on paper caliber team in the Chicago Bears, and go atop the NFC East with a 5-4 record. I'll catch you guys back here next week. Hope all you guys are being as frustrated as I am with Call of Duty. And see ya. Peace out.